sports?
Yeah, some sports. We'll get into some sports this morning. Good morning. It's the Kurre and Klapow show here on Facebook Live and on Tony Kurre Radio. One of our podcasts. We'll see. We have Dark Side of the Pooch.
Yep.
Adapter Parish with you and Dr. Alex Hubline. We have Mission Minded with Michael Coleman from the Montgomery Food Bank now. He's the CEO. We have Live Wire Wednesday. We have Blues Almighty with Austin Hanks. We have When in Rome with Stuart Rome on Fridays. We have the Damon Johnson Show. We have a show called Need to Know with Kip Kiefer. We have a new show called Wanna Bet coming up just in time for college football season coming up. We have the Kurre and Klapow Show and Tony Kurre Live. You can hear all those shows on Spotify. Go to Spotify, search Tony Kurre Radio. There's hundreds of podcasts. You can hear all those shows on demand. Great content. And of course, you can hear all the shows live here on TKR.
We're like really good talk radio.
Yeah.
Like, no, but I'm saying like really good. Not just like down the rabbit hole. You can only talk about these things. It can only be political. Like, there is no other show or station where it is that kind of variety.
Yeah.
Right?
No, there's not.
No, not. I mean, it's like, political talk radio.
Any talk radio you're going to get is going to be
mostly political.
Newsy and political.
Yeah. Right.
Or we're just two guys shooting the shit about.
Well, but you have that on all your shows.
We will get into some politics today, though.
Yeah. Twerking politics?
Yeah, we're going to do that at Fox 6. We'll be on Fox 6 this morning at 9:30. We're talking twerking. Good job, Fox 6.
I was too.
You
sent it to me, and we're like, we probably shouldn't. And we sent it to the producer.
For people who don't know, we're on Fox 6 every week with Janice and Mickey and Dubs and all those guys. They do a wonderful job. They're the coolest television station. They're actually pretty hip. There's a lot of TV people that don't know what to do with radio people. And you're a TV guy more than a radio guy. I'm a radio guy. And so it kind of wigs them out a little bit, right?
Yes.
And so we're doing our radio show. We're not doing a radio show. We're doing a TV show. We're doing a radio show. We're doing we're multimedia production facilitation type of company here. So it's not just radio. And so we come on, and so they normally kind of tell us what they want to talk about because TV is safe. Okay?
Right. Well, because they got to think about their view.
Back up. TV news, local TV news is safe.
Yes.
It has to be.
Yes.
And they try to go down the middle of the road, right or left, blah, 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 blah. So then from that 9:30 to 10 or 9 to 10 o'clock block there on Good Morning Alabama, they kind of get out there a little bit.
Well, because they've been up there for 7 hours.
Yeah, what was the restaurant they had on? The Slutty Chicken or something?
Oh, Slutty Vegan.
The Slutty Vegan. And I'm thinking, they're putting a business going called the Slutty Vegan. I'm like, you go, Fox. I mean, it's out there. It's,
it is.
Sprinkle a little of that stuff.
Just a little bit.
So we come on and... the more we're on, the more they trust us.
Yeah, because
Jeremy, who is on vacation in the UK, will be back next week. Is saying, let me know by Monday or Tuesday what you guys want to talk about. And sometimes we throw some things out. Sometimes we get preempted because there's a war going on or whatever. Because that's more newsworthy than we are. But for the most part, they go with what we want to go with. And obviously, we like to talk a lot about music. We talked about the R. Kelly situation. We talked about the slap. We get all those kind of things, the TMZ type of stuff, which you can also see on Fox 6. Mm-hmm. But occasionally, we'll come up with a story, and we'll kind of... like you're
well, we send it as a, hey, this won't work. It's just a joke.
Yeah. A large... black politician woman who's running for an office was seen twerking. It was awesome. She's not quite the size of like Lizzo.
No, but she's
a big woman. She was getting after it. It was great.
On her head
on the beach. It was awesome. We're going to tell you why she was doing that with Fox 6, and we threw that out. And they're like, let's do it. I'm like, that's awesome. Because we're thinking about, do we want to talk about the hot heat? Do we want to talk about the suicide rate? What about school shootings? Do we talk about gun control? And then we find this politician twerking. I'm like, good, we get to have some fun today. I love it. That's great. Also in the news today, you mentioned a few minutes ago, the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is resigning. He will make that announcement, I guess it was 8 o'clock, I don't know, whatever British time is.
It's 6 hours ahead of us.
So he's doing that today. He will be in the Prime Minister's seat until they find a replacement for him. Interesting enough, his 3 predecessors all resigned as well. You remember Theresa May?
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
So I was thinking to myself, wow, this is something else. It really isn't.
No.
This is not Richard Nixon.
No. Well, because because it's all relative to what you're comparing to.
No, but I mean, the last three, Theresa May over the Brexit situation,
Yeah, I forgot
David Cameron,
Yeah.
who left after the UK left for the EU, and then before him, Gordon Brown, who said he would resign if they would bring David Cameron on, who also resigned. So this is not something
Yeah,
that
but this is sexual allegations and COVID misconduct.
I don't know why.
Boris was spicy. Boris...
I love Boris.
Well, so I learned about this through my son. So Boris was an Oxford student.
Yes.
And he was like...
Super smart guy.
Super smart. I mean, but a partier at Oxford.
Yeah.
Right? So like in Oxford, you can do whatever you want for the most part, but the criteria for passing and for doing well is super high. So you better be freaking smart if you're going to be a part. And like there's stories of him like trashing the dorms and all that kind of stuff. And then he's got the messed up hair. I still don't understand the hair.
Dude, this is him. I love it. I mean,
Yeah.
for the same reason we don't understand Donald Trump's hair.
Maybe that's it. But then everybody quit.
Yeah. And of course, another victim of COVID. COVID got it.
Yeah.
Not from the sickness itself, but by the politics of COVID, because he was having big time COVID parties and people he got called out. Then of course there was some kiss that happened and there was some sexual assault thing.
Yes.
And
vomit all over the they vomited when they partied.
Yeah.
Remember the vomit?
Yeah. Despite the fact, we got ketchup on the wall. He is vomit in the Parliament House. Despite the fact that so many people are applauding and saying thank you so much for getting this guy. And they're saying he's a nice guy, he's just not a prime minister. He's a good guy. He's kind of crazy, but he's just not the right prime minister material we're looking for. Yet he just got a vote of confidence just a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, and now they changed their mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
He got the vote of confidence and said, I'm good. I'm leaving while I'm going out.
I think it was really funny. I was watching just a little bit again because my kids are in the UK, so I have this. I don't follow it closely, but like when something like this comes up, and I was watching, and one of the comments was something to the extent that we believe that, or Boris believes that we can run a country, yet we have no ministers to run any. We went through. There's nobody in any of the spots. There's no health, no education, no travel, no any. And they're like, so we literally have nothing governing anything right now. Mm-hmm. And then they do that kind of parliament thing, which is so interesting.
I love it.
They all go, blah, 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 blah. Like, we don't do that here.
No, they just talk over each other. It's great.
Yes.
They talk just underneath enough.
Yes.
It's almost like background sounds, like someo's piping it in.
Yes, it's not yelling.
Yeah, you cannot talk over him, but you can
talk under him.
Yeah, it's great. Also, Zion Williamson, your boy there with the Pelicans.
Oh, jeez.
July 6th, a very special day for him. First of all, he found out last July 6th in 2021 that his foot was broken.
Yeah.
And then he was going to miss the entire 2021-2022 season.
Right.
July 6th is also his birthday.
Oh, really?
So happy birthday to Zion Williamson. And he also signed a 5-year, $231 million extension yesterday, despite the fact not playing the previous calendar year.
I heard the number. He has not played 67%. So he's played 33%.
He hasn't played squat. He just turned 22, so there's obviously a lot left in the tank. He will make the max rookie deal of $46.2 million a year for the next 5 years, and he met with the owners yesterday and said, I promise you, I will do everything I can to stay healthy. You hope he's not one of those guys, because you just look at the injury rate in the NBA, it sucks. I mean, everyone's getting banged up. LeBron James is the only one. He gets banged up, he's out for a game or two, and he's right back.
That's right.
Every single major star
all of them
is having some major injury issues. But I mean, from a fan base standpoint, he is a superstar. He will be a superstar. He's only 22. He's still developing, so good for him. But they gave him the max deal, man. They gave him the deal and said, we're all in with you. And he said, I love you. I promise you. I know you want to win a championship. I'll do everything I can to bring you.
Dude, the amount of pressure that is on him now.
Yeah.
There's always immense pressure. To begin with, there's immense pressure. But he's lost. There's very few what we call degrees of freedom now, right? So he hasn't played. People have said, "Oh my, look at him, he's amazing." But then it started. Well, but he got a couple injuries. It's okay because he's going to be fine. Well, then he put on the weight. Okay, he's one of a kind. And I listened on one of the sports shows this morning. They're like, "Look, yes, but we've only seen snippets of him.
Yeah.
So it is entirely possible that he'll get more injuries.
Yeah.
It is entirely possible that he won't be able to keep his weight. I mean, not because you're slamming on him. If you just look at his physical history, this has got nothing to do with whether he wants to play or don't. He, back in our day, Bowie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he is Bill Walton.
Greg Ogden.
Yes.
Is a prime example.
Yes.
Ohio State was a top 3 guy and just never played.
Well,
his foot was always banged up.
That's exactly. I mean, this is not. This is not a. He's surly and aloof or whatever. But there is a big question about, does he have a physical body that can do this without getting injured? And one of the other interesting comments, I know we're going to soft basketball. I love basketball. Is he is what they're calling a power guard or whatever, or a point forward is what it is.
Yeah.
But. And he's 22, so you can go with reckless abandon in the NBA at 22, and that works as long as you're developing the game so that by the time you're about 26, and you can't just keep going to the hoop. But nobody knows, and that's the thing that's so crazy. I mean, look how much money that is compared to the NFL.
You just hope that he gets some type of conditioning. I don't know if he needs to go with a Tom Brady guy. I don't know what he needs to do, and I realize injuries are part of the game. I understand that. But yeah, it's weird because we've seen him at his best, we've seen him at his worst, but we've not seen him consistently one way or another. When he's on, it's amazing to watch. When he's off and looks lazy, then he looks really, really lazy. But he's 22 years old. Now that he's got the money, you hope he doesn't rest on his laurels at the age of 20. I mean, he's got $46 million a year coming in the next 5 years. It'd be easy to go. But he's a Duke guy, right?
Yeah, everything I've heard, this is not a...
It's not a money grab.
Well, and it may be a matured, not the injury part, but I've heard a couple things about maturity, and we're so quick to slam on professional athletes, and I think we always have to check ourselves that most of these pro athletes in their first few years are somewhere between 19 and 23.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy young. He just was able to drink.
Yeah. We're going to talk some Elon Musk here in just a second, and also some Robert Cremo information that has come out early this morning that I think is really interesting. They're trying to find, they're going through all the social media. This kid was really weird.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this too, because I have a 17-year-old son, and I know some people have kids that get into gothic stuff, or they get a little dark, or they get into little groups, and you're like, it's good to be different, but I mean, this guy... He had built a place in the backyard that he was living in that was really, really strange. He had blow-up dolls.
Not illegal.
No, none of it's illegal.
I have an interesting comment.
A lot of things that he had posted, obviously, were like, "Whoa, there's an issue here," and of course, his mom and dad are catching up. Sure, he's protected by all that stuff.
I know.
There's a ton of creep factors here.
Oh, absolutely.
But there's one about a particular number that is showing up everywhere in everything he did. And the fact that this fell on the 4th of July, we probably should have seen this coming. Do you know how many kids Elon Musk has?
No. I wasn't even...
You want to take a guess?
6.
It was announced yesterday
28.
that Elon Musk
75.
had twins.
Oh, okay.
With one of his top executives.
Oh.
Weeks before he welcomed his second child, who he just had with Grimes, who's the singer, who also, of course, is named Claire Bouchard. He has 9 children.
Wait, you lost me. I was with you, and I was so is he married to any of them?
No.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And it was announced that right before he just had his second child with Grimes, who's now his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
He's got 2 children with her.
Yep. Ex-girlfriend, yes. Okay.
That he had twins with a top executive that obviously was under his tutelage under their testing. And then, of course, he originally had twins and triplets with his first wife, who's a Canadian author.
In vitro fertilization? Like, is this infertility stuff? Or just got a lot of twin genes?
He's got a lot of power, man. He's got rocket fuel, right? I'm assuming. I don't know.
That's a lot of twins and triplets.
2 twins and triplets, and then single. So he's got now 9 children.
unabashed. He's not nothing about getting married.
Remember, he had his, and he's a playboy of sorts. That he's dated he dated Amber Heard. Obviously, he mentioned the fact that she was the one that really broke his heart. He's dated a couple of other celebrities. He is seen around the celebrity.
What is with the impregnation?
Again, I'm thinking to myself, a lot of people go, well, he's got the financial wherewithal to take care of these kids, blah, blah, blah. It has nothing to do with that. That obviously is a big part of that. And we got into the Nick Cannon thing. We got into the Tristan Thompson thing.
You saw our friend Brian Christine. That's all going to change. That's changing.
Yeah, I'm just like...
Well, actually, for guys like him, it's not changing because he doesn't seem to care.
No,
right?
And again, I'm a father. You're a father.
Yeah.
You want to be in these kids' lives.
It's horrible.
And I don't know how in the hell you can be in 9 different children's lives from 3 different women. And by the way, they were all born in Canada.
All the kids?
Every one of them was born in Canada. He said he loves Canada. Elon Musk loves himself to Canada, yet we love him here in the United States for...
It's just bad. You know, I'm supposed to be open-minded because I'm a psychologist. I'm supposed to understand where this is coming from.
Yes.
And I'm fascinated about where does this come from. But to your point, you cannot be a psychological presence, an emotional presence in your children's lives if your children are the product of 3 different moms. You know, I'm assuming they don't all live a block away from each other.
They don't.
Right?
Yeah.
You can't. And the other issue is, too, once your kids get to a certain age, and it's not that old, 8, 9, where's, all the questions, mommy and daddy are not married. Oh, is daddy married to somebody else? No. And if it's famous and you can only keep the other children not part of the conversation for so long, and then kids start putting 2 and 2 together. My dad is famous. He has 9 kids. I only have a brother and a sister. What about all the other ones? Those are my half-brothers and half-sisters. That's where this stuff really starts getting nasty because kids start getting resentful.
And I wonder, from like a Nick Cannon standpoint, it sounds like he wants to have as many kids as he possibly can. If you don't want to have kids, there's ways to get around that,
yes,
right?
There are.
If Elon Musk is having twins with an executive...
Well, that's...
if you just want to sleep around, you want to be a slut, I mean, I get it. I mean, I understand it. I don't, but I mean, that's... If you just want to knock boots, he's Elon Musk. He's a nice-looking guy. He's rich. I'm sure there's a ton of women that throw themselves at him at every turn, and I get that. To even say they just had sex with Elon Musk, even if he was broke, I get that. But at what point does Elon Musk, because I think he's a pretty smart guy, do you think emotionally, attachment-wise, even economically, this isn't a good idea to have 9 kids? And he's young. There's no reason to think he won't have more. I just wonder when you're having, unless he's like banging somebody in a closet at a Christmas party, and it's just like he's just getting it on, and it's like it was a mistake. But I'm assuming he's got some type of emotional attachment with these women because this is an executive he worked with. Do they not discuss, hey, listen, we're having unprotected sex. There's a chance you're going to get pregnant here. Is that, or is it just, I mean, right? I mean,
we're literally, I mean,
we talk about this before we get married. Before I got married, I said to my now ex-wife of 17, 18 years, how many children would you like to have? We'd like to have 2 children. I want to have a biological child. I want to have an adopted child. And we adopted, and we adapted a little bit. We adapted our parish, and we moved around. We adopted a second child. And then we had our third, which was kind of a miracle. We really didn't talk about that, but it was a miracle. But that's 3 with the same person.
Yep.
And I'm just thinking to myself, these poor kids. And people are like, well, they got all the money they want. Money doesn't do shit.
Well, and that's the whole thing. Every life.
These little babies are going to have trust funds. They're going to be billionaires when they turn 21. But where's their dad at?
Right.
And I don't know if he's the super dad, where maybe he takes an hour a day and visits each one of them for an hour. But he still can't do that.
You're still, listen, you can't, by definition, if you are having multiple children out of wedlock and you are not in a committed relationship, I mean, maybe I could understand, maybe if I really stretch myself and go, okay, you were married to this person.
Now, listen, back up. Having 9 with someone you are committed to and married to is hard as hell.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You can barely give those 9 kids what they need if you're with one woman and you still love her. Continue.
Well, yes, but let's say he was married and he had 2 kids and then he got divorced. Okay, didn't work out. Oh, okay, yeah. So then he gets remarried because he's young. Gets remarried. 2 more kids.
Yeah.
Didn't work out again.
Yeah.
Okay. Gets married again. 3 kids, triplets. I couldn't help it. It was triplets. Okay. Now, at the very least, if I absolutely stretch myself to the farthest of my psychological training, I go, okay, you're not very good in relationships, but you're trying. You keep trying. You keep screwing up. But this is not that. This is literally, like you said, you're having kids with one woman, and almost simultaneously you're having kids with another woman. That is not right, not just morally. Like, I can put the morality aside, I absolutely can. And I can say, you are creating a world for children that are your responsibility, that is absolutely topsy-turvy screwed up. Mm-hmm. Because it flies in the face of everything we know from the research about what creates the most well-adapted child. And he's not doing that. And, you can go, well, there's different cultural practices and, it's bullshit. Like, don't do that. Don't give me that.
He should run his family like he runs his business. Would you run your business the same way you're running your personal life?
Great. That's right. Right. Well, and
are you taking on more jobs? We have a mission statement. It's written on the wall. This is what we do at Tesla. This is what we do at SpaceX. Right. This is what we ever do.
We got to watch head count.
We have strategic. We have logistic. We have all these things in place, and I know he runs an impeccable business because he's the richest man on earth. And then, okay, all of a sudden you're taking on this thing and this thing and this thing.
Well, and what do we do in business? It's the number one thing we do in business, which is if
you talk about this on Dr. Perry.
That would be great. If you run a smart business, then when you diversify into something else, there is some sort of rationale. Something. It's an emerging market. It's a potential revenue generator. It's an easy pivot for us. There is some presentation that somebody makes, either from the CEO and founder down, or from someone in the organization says, we should really think about this. And then there is some justification for it. Now, we don't have Elon Musk here. Elon Musk might be able to come in and sit with us and say, this is my justification. We asked this about Nick Cannon, right? And this is why I'm saying, I'm stretching, because as a psychologist, I want to know what the hell's going on in your brain. Really, what's going on in your brain? I'm not trying to pass judgment on you. What are you thinking that it makes it okay? I can't figure that out. Help me understand.
If it's a matter of just carrying on your lineage through as many, through as many beautiful women as you possibly can. I'm sure he tried to impregnate Amber Heard.
That's weak.
Think she's beautiful.
Yeah, but that's
why wouldn't she's the best woman?
Super weak.
He also opens himself up as a smart businessman
to
litigious activity that could go on for years. If he has twins with an executive he's working with, and we don't know about it until he has a second child with his girlfriend.
But you know what? That executive one,
there's only you can write NDAs all you want.
We used to do this on the web, Red Flag.
Yeah.
We can talk about the morality, and it's not good for the kids of having multiple kids with multiple girlfriends. As soon as you bring it in house, and as an executive, now you've really you have played a card that you screwed up.
Yeah.
Right? Because if it's outside, it's not okay. But from a business standpoint, it's exactly what you said. You just opened yourself up to a major lawsuit. Mm-hmm. You can't do that with your employees.
You're the richest man on the face of the earth.
Right.
How many women are going to come out and say, I slept with Elon Musk? Because
I used to work for him.
He obviously can't keep it in his pants. He's obviously, he's not going, okay, I'm going to have 3 different women with 9 children and I'm done. That just doesn't happen. I don't know. A lot of people, there's people that's going, go, bud. Go, buddy.
Go, bud.
People on Twitter. You go, Elon. Good-looking guy, rich man. He's 007.
This is not going to sound right. I was just trying to think about how to say this in the right way. But we talked about this last week. It takes two. It takes two.
It does.
So, we can flip it on the other side and say, if you're the woman, did you get duped? Did Elon say, I love you and I'm going to marry you, and then he's going to change his mind? Maybe. I mean, that's one scenario. I don't know what else.
It's pathetic.
Yeah.
It's pathetic because, and I'll use the three guys, Nick Cannon, Tristan Thompson, and Elon Musk.
Yeah.
If you're in a relationship with those guys and you're smitten with him, maybe he's on your bucket list.
Yeah.
Maybe because he's rich, you just want to see you slept with him. I don't know what your reason is.
Well, fine, sleep with
These
him.
are beautiful women that could be with anybody they want and be in a relationship where there's actually a man that's committed to you and your potential child that you could have with this guy. You're right. It's a 50-50 proposition. It's as much on them as it is on Elon Musk sticking it to you. It's like, and I saw Tristan Thompson. I did. I saw Tristan last night on some TMZ story, hunking it down with some chick in a bar. She was a good-looking woman. He's sitting there saying he wants Chloe back, and the Kardashian show. Maybe that's just for TV, the cutting room floor, whatever. I'm like, okay. And there he is getting after it with another strange woman we don't even know. And I'm thinking maybe she thinks I just want to sleep with Tristan. I just want to say I slept with him. I don't know. Maybe he's like this. I don't know. Maybe
but even that, okay. Look, let's get clinical on this, because this is all topical now. We could do this on WBRC. It's topical now with the whole change of Roe v. Wade. And questions about Plan B and contraception. I mean, all that is on the table now. I'm not saying that we've made decisions on all that, but it's all on the table. So your first thing, the very first thing I'm thinking is, if you're the woman, yes, he should be having protected sex. Yes, he should have a condom on. If he doesn't, you shouldn't sleep with him, right? Mm-hmm. That's the first one, is you keep the condom on, I ain't sleeping with you.
Yeah.
But let's add another layer of protection. Are you on contraceptives? Do you have an IUD? Again, I'm not saying it's all your responsibility, but if you're going to sleep with a guy and he doesn't have a condom on, this is the part I feel like somewhere between a dad and like a sort of public health guy. He needs to wear a condom. If he doesn't have a condom and he ejaculates inside of you,
yep.
Trying to go there, you have a chance of getting pregnant. This isn't hard.
Somewhere maybe there's that thought process too.
What?
Maybe we're giving these women just too much credit. Maybe they're just thinking, okay, he's a rich guy. I know my child will be provided for.
Well, that's okay.
And maybe they're going through a paternal situation where this is a great situation because we obviously don't look at having children in wedlock as a rule anymore, and it's sad. Yep. We have a lot of children outside wedlock, and the fathers are never part of their lives or the mothers.
But I can understand that.
And so,
I don't agree with it, but I can understand if you are the woman and you're going in.
You're a 27-year-old woman and you want a baby, but you don't want a man in your life, then Elon Musk is your guy.
Yeah.
Or Tristan Thompson or Nick Cannon.
Fine.
Then I actually get that a little bit.
I do.
Because I know a lot of women that are like that. I want a baby, but I don't want to deal with a dumbass dude.
Good. Great. Perfect. That's fine. And we need to have them all here on our show so we can answer those questions without passing judgment. Because that, to me, I can understand that. I would want to dig deeper.
Yeah.
What's your thought process behind that? I want to have a child. I want to have a child and I don't want a father around. Okay. I understand that. And I want it from Elon Musk so that financially my child will be okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talk about one of our great sponsors. We'll get to some birthdays, and then I got this number, this Robert Cremo number that everyone's talking about this morning. Have you know what the number is?
Yeah, it's not 6.
Yeah.
It's 43.
No. Talk about one of our great sponsors here.
I just emailed him this morning on the way over here, John Gray.
Yes.
Gas prices are down-ish. Interest rates are up-ish.
Yeah, we're under $100 a barrel.
Yeah, and the market is all over the place. And as a result, you need to be talking to John Gray because you need someone to manage your money in a healthy way. That's what John Gray does. Go to his webpage, driscollgray.com. He works with people all over the United States. And it's really simple. It doesn't matter what your financial situation is. And particularly if you're struggling financially, but you have some assets, that's when you need to talk to a financial advisor so you don't screw it up. Or if you've screwed it up, you need someone to help you, and that's what John Gray does. John is the best about looking at the whole picture. He works with a variety of accountants, lawyers. He's got sort of his network of people, and he will help you navigate this bizarro financial situation, and he's not going to just pop your money in mutual funds and say, give me the commission. So go call him today. His webpage at driscollgray.com, and his name is John Gray.
One of the things that radio stations were really good at, and normally anytime I'd show up somewhere, they weren't showing up for me or the promotion, they were showing up for t-shirts. People love t-shirts, and the radio stations haven't done that in like 50 years. They just don't do it anymore. And I was always like, why are we selling these things, give them away? Because people need to be wearing them, promoting your station. We're coming out with our first ever Tony Kurre Radio staff shirts. We should have them out within a couple of weeks.
Staff shirts?
Yes.
Like
and
polos that with little...
No, it says staff. It's your official staff member, because every person who listens to this radio station is part of its success, right?
Oh,
and
look at you, that's marketing
and it's
genius.
brought to you by Southern Precision Staffing.
Oh!
Which will be on back. So you have Southern Precision Staffing on the back, you have a staff on the shirt, you have the logo, and Tony Kurre Radio, yes. So those will be coming out probably in the next couple of weeks, and I'm going to give those bad boys out. We're not going to show up somewhere with 3 of them and say we're out of t-shirts. We're going to hand these bad boys out at concerts everywhere. So if you want a free t-shirt, make sure you're looking for Tony Kurre Radio here in the next couple of weeks. We're going to be out towards the latter part of the summer at all your favorite concerts. We'll be handing those bad boys out. And thanks again to Southern Precision Staffing for being one of our wonderful sponsors here. 205-682-2828, 205-682-2828 for all your staffing needs, construction or otherwise. It is Southern Precision Staffing. Your word and your handshake still means something. So pretty cool stuff there. We got that going on. Go to Spotify. Wherever you get your podcast, it's also it's on audience. Anywhere you get your podcast, you can find Tony Kurre Radio.
Yes, sure.
You got Tony Kurre Live. You got the Kurre and Klapow show. You can hear our show a little later on this afternoon through our podcast. But Spotify is where we have all of our graphics and stuff up. We have a brand new show with, of course, Kip Kiefer called Need to Know with Terry Quillen's on. It's a great show, and we're working and developing maybe 3 to 4 more shows. And then
I think we should do a fall fundraiser like NPR does.
You know what? That'd be a great idea.
You know, like a fundraiser, just like how much is it worth to you, Tony?
GoFundMe page for Tony Kurre Radio.
I love it.
We're doing pretty good here. So and the shows are fantastic, and we know that the only way you're going to continue to listen to TKR and the Tony Kurre Radio app. And thanks, by the way, to the tens of thousands of people who listen on Monday, the Detonation Station. I know you were listening. It was killer, was it not? Wasn't it great?
So I'm watching. I didn't go. I'm more empty nester.
I didn't either.
I had on my big
couldn't.
TV.
Yeah.
By the way, it looked really good.
VRC did a nice job.
They did a job. And so Jules was watching. She was a little tired. I think they opened up with Whitney Houston.
They did.
Yeah, okay.
And they did a countdown, yeah.
And Jules, she's like, "This is great." And I muted it because I wanted to hear the synchronous.
Oh.
And I had it to my ear, and I pushed the button. Do not do. Warning. Here's a public health warning. When you push the TKR app, do not hold it next to your ear, because I don't understand what y'all have done, but as soon as it goes on, it's full volume.
Yeah.
And so threw Jules out of her seat.
Yeah.
And she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "This is the firework. I mean, this is the music sound, the soundtrack from TKR." And it is. I was watching it. I tried to video myself. I couldn't. My toes were Your toes don't tap when you watch fireworks at a fireworks show. How often are your toes tapping? You're like, it's like, great, and they're playing Lee Greenwood, and it's great, and you're crying and stuff. This, you're like banging your head, and your toes are tapping while the fireworks. It was so good.
No, and the worst part was when it was over. When it was over, it was like, and there was one point where we used, For Those About to Rock as the last song.
Yes.
And Brian Johnson, fire!
Yep.
And there was a lull, and it hit perfectly. It was like, we knew it was going on. They had their own soundtrack, and I tried to listen to it. It's fine. It's very patriotic.
Yes.
And it's good for all age groups.
Yes.
We like to get after it. If you listen to some of the music we had on, we had some Def Leppard on, and we had some Kiss, and it was killer. I want to do my own fireworks show.
Well, you do usually.
Yeah, I didn't do it this year, but I want to do an actual fireworks show.
You could partner with somebody.
That's what we're working on.
Okay.
But fireworks this year, and of course the Super Show Fireworks, one of our great sponsors here on Tony Kurre Radio.
Yeah.
Fireworks prices up 35 to 40% this year. It was super expensive because, of course, of the container issues, and it was a good year because a lot of people just didn't have fireworks shows the last couple of years. So kudos to them for doing a great job. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. So and thanks to James Michael Keats He was my director of operations. Pretty much makes this whole thing go. He was the one that put that bed together. He's like, I want to do it. And we sat down here till 6 o'clock on Monday night. I was like, dude, we're on in 2 hours. And man, he put it together, and he just.
That had a very much a James Michael Keats signature on it.
Yes.
And I'll tell you why. Because you play snippets-ish. I mean, I wouldn't call them snippets. They're longer than snippets. But what was very much James Michael Keats was, I kept waiting for the song to like roll out.
No.
And they weren't like 30 seconds roll out, 30 seconds roll out. And certain ones, the whole song was there, or most of it. It was, again, like the radio station. You don't know what's coming next, but you're super happy with what's on right now. And that's what it was. Like, I kept waiting. Oh, this one's going to fade. Oh, it didn't fade.
Yep.
And then it faded.
All right, so whenever we have a shooting, and it's always a white guy between the age of 18 and 20 is what it appears to be.
So
obviously, it goes outside that area. The last 2 shootings were white 18-year-olds. So if you're a white 18-year-old, right away you have a red flag on you these days. And then, of course, after the shooting happens, and this Richard Cremo guy, and I try to be compassionate, understanding, because I know we're all different. I know we're all in different cultures, and we're born different, we're raised different, we have different family dynamics. I get all that, so I try to be as understanding, but this kid was a creep. This guy had a lot of things going on that was like red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. I mean, everything from posting things, bullets, dropping things, making fun of school shootings, doing a Minecraft thing where he's on top of the rooftop just picking people off. I mean, there were all the red flags that were there, and of course we find them after the deed is done. But something kept showing up. He built his own place in his backyard, which, and again, I don't know what kind of relationship he had with his mom and his dad. And mom and dad are catching all kinds of hell. She was out shopping at Target yesterday and just got berated. His dad is taking no responsibility at all. I'm like, you're his father. You should be taking some responsibility. He came from your loins. You need to be a responsible parent. I'm not saying you're the one that was doing the shooting, but you are responsible for some of this. You have to be as a father in some aspect if you're in his life. That's my belief. But I mean, he built this thing in the backyard. Handy guy. And I'm thinking to myself, that's kind of cool. I built, a goat barn.
Right.
Something I wanted to try.
Right.
Because I had goats.
Right.
If I'm building something for myself in the backyard, well, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. I don't want to live in the house. Okay. And I listen, I get kids want to be different.
Yeah.
Going out and doing their own thing, thinking outside the box. I mean, you want to get an earring. I'm like, it's all the different things that kids go through. It's a different time than it was back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. But I mean, obviously, if you go back and look, but one of the things he did, he's got this fixation with the number 47.
Okay, that's really weird. Can I just say this?
Yeah.
I'll share this with you. I was throwing out numbers. I didn't say it, but I was throwing out these random numbers. 47 was one of the numbers I was going to throw out.
Well, the shooting happened on 7/4.
Yeah, that's true.
On July 4th. He has 47 painted on the side of his car. He has a Honda Accord, and it's got a big 47 written. Looks like a race car, or as much as an Accord can look like a race car. He's got 47 tattooed on his face, above his left eye. And everyone's making this connection. If Donald Trump wins re-election, he will be our 47th president. His chat forum, his name is Awake 47.
Okay.
He sings a lot of songs about the number 47. He is a rap artist. He's a rapper, and he gets about 16,000 listens a month on Spotify. So he's got a listening, which is amazing. And a lot of people are saying, okay, what's this 47 about? And people, and I'd love to get Damon Johnson or Austin Hanks on talk about. There's a musical reference that's played to a lot of Pink Floyd music and to a lot of Alice in Chains music in 7/4 time.
Okay.
Which is basically 7 beats with the quarter note following on the fourth, and so 7/4 time. So there's if you go, and I googled this morning, and it's really interesting, quite frankly.
Yeah.
If you listen to music recorded 7/4 time, Pink Floyd was notorious for it. A lot of their big Money was one of those songs that was that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
If you listen to it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so I don't know if that's the musical reference that he was using and why 47 is so big or 7/4 is so big and everything. But they're looking at the number 47, which is really. But man, I mean, and we're all created in the likeness of God and Jesus, right? But this dude did everything he could. The whole insurrection Where's Waldo thing look that he had going on. He was really comfortable self-deprecating, making fun of himself. I think he was making fun of himself to be dressed as Where's Waldo and his look. He's obviously, I can't make fun of kids with long noses because I've certainly got one. But he is a very interesting looking cat.
He's an odd looking cat.
Even
independent of any of his tattoos.
If he was a straight A, super good Christian church,
he's still
odd looking. He's a very odd looking kid. And, you see a lot of kids, I say kids, 18, 19, 20, 21 years, the Uvalde shooter, they're unkept. They're kids. They're usually thin. You don't ever see you never see a fat terrorist. You don't. You never see anybody who's fat kill a bunch of people. You realize that? You don't ever see that. I mean, I'm sure there's been one. Someone will probably send a picture. But they're always skinny white dudes. You never see fat people shooting anybody. You ever notice that? Maybe it's because they can't reload fast enough. They can't get past their belt. I don't know what it is. But it's always skinny white dudes. And so this kid, but for the most part, they're young, good-looking. You could see them probably, during geography, scribbling something, a Thor or something on a Scrabble pad while they think about, how they want to change the world. But it doesn't look like they're lost cause. And this kid was just bizarre looking. Yeah. He's just, and again, I say that you made him, so there's. But I mean, he was just a really, and I don't know if there's a whole lot he could have changed. He almost had an Emo Phillips look. His hair was an Emo Phillips look, like it was done with a bowl. And I'm not making fun of the kid, but if something was way off with this kid, yet he was smart enough and into himself enough and into his own little world to create a huge following on Spotify, to be a rapper, to get something that he's into that he was really proud of. And I'm just thinking as a parent, again, I don't know what his parents. Well, I don't know what his parents, what they're.
You have to be careful with the parents, and I'll tell you why. There are, I'm blanking on which shooting it was the Parkland shooting. There are a number of parents who have incredibly disturbed kids. This is the extreme. Some parents, they're not, they're contributing to that. Abuse, neglect, or whatever. But there's also a group of parents, and then there's a famous letter that was written, and I think it's the Parkland shooting, where basically the mom said, please forgive me, my child is evil, or something. That no matter what you do, your child is wired wrong.
Yeah.
Your child is wired wrong, they're dangerous, you can be a great parent, and it still can happen. So I always caution people. I don't know where these parents are, but let us not go. I'm not saying you are, but let us not go. Well, the parents were. And this is the whole. Trying not to get to this. I'm trying not to get this, but when I see Mitch McConnell standing up in the Paducah, Kentucky, this is clearly a mental health issue. No, it's not. Yeah. No, it's not. The people who do this, yes, they're flipping crazy. But that's not because he didn't get therapy. Like, I want people to understand that you look at, you say he's looks like smart. Well, to carry out something like that, you do have to have a level of intelligence. It's not reckless. It's planned. You have to go get the weapon. You have to get, so we have to be so careful not to say, there were red flags everywhere. Of course there are red flags. I said this last night. I had this conversation with someone last night. You go online and you ask about, hate talk, weird postings, things that are creepy. You go online, there are a gazillion, and they're not all young 18-year-old white males. There are a lot of people who are avid, some of the preppers even. It's bizarre. They've got all kinds of weird stuff. So the reason that this always happens after the fact is because it's after the fact.
Yeah.
But you can't go in on the front end and go, oh, there's all kinds of red flags, because then we get into this issue as well. Is it crazy?
Yeah.
What's crazy? It's
not
odd.
crazy.
It's not crazy. You know when it's crazy or evil or whatever? It's crazy when he's shooting.
Yeah.
So the problem you have is you can't say, well, look at him, we should have put him in therapy.
And there's no doubt that there's probably a lot of kids or young adults that have the same type of acumen that they do that won't go out and kill a bunch of people.
Yes.
They may have some issues down the road.
Absolutely.
They may see therapy. They may go psychotic.
Absolutely.
They're not willing. They're not.
Absolutely. This one scared me more than anything else, and I don't know why. And maybe it was because it was on 4th of July parade. I don't know.
The ones that I think are really interesting are when you do find someone, he was a quiet child. He may have had some issues, came from a broken home. It seems like a lot of these kids come from broken homes. Mm-hmm. He went to church every Sunday, seemed to be a good kid, was getting decent grades, was a little, they always say he's a little bit of a loner. They always have a little bit of a loner. You're never going to see, most likely to succeed, or you're never going to see the prom king be the mass shooter. You're not. It never happens. It's always a kid that's a little on the outside. And it really made me think about some of the kids that I went to high school with that were just like that I thought nothing of, and quite frankly, never lended a hand to. And it really makes me think, I was this dumb 16, 17, 18-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And if you're, that age and you're watching this show right now, there were a couple of kids that were bullied. I did nothing to help them because I wasn't secure in my own ways. I just kind of stayed away from them. I stayed away from their group. And I really think to myself, man, I could have really done something. And these didn't turn out to be mass murders yet. But I really start thinking about some of the kids that I went to school with that really affected me, because I can think of 3 right off the bat that were really outliers, that were loners, that wanted to be part of a group, but they weren't allowed in, or we just pushed them aside. It's not our, And
it will,
it's not always what you do, it's what you don't do.
And as much as people are able to rebound from that kind of stuff, that bullying or exclusion, that's why they say middle school is so hard. But that kind of exclusion, even if you never have a trajectory the way we're describing, it is traumatic and will scar you for life. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean that you won't be able to function great in society. But you go back and you look at people who are significantly bullied, even if it wasn't physical, just socially pushed out, etc. They have all kinds of psychological problems. And I'm not talking, again, when I say psychological problems, I'm not saying that, they're suicidal or whatever. There's usually anxiety issues. There's usually emotional regulation issues. There's usually some attachment issues. And when I say, again, issues meaning, yes, they can function in society, but because of what happened when they were 11, 12, 13, they are not leading a life that is as fulfilling and healthy as it could have been. And to your point, it might have only taken a couple kids to bring them in, and they could have had a very different trajectory.
And more so than even bullying.
Yeah, right.
It's being ignored.
Particularly
not
nowadays.
Being allowed to be part of a group. And that's
a great point.
Is something that's a form of bullying.
Well,
the fact that we don't even associate with you, we don't even see you, not even part of a group, that goes from mom, dad, brother, sister, teacher, counselor, doctors. It's every part of this kid's life where just one person can reach out and make a difference. And normally, I think of the 3 kids that I was thinking of, they were super smart. had bad acne, but they came from families of fathers who were really successful that weren't part of their life, that were disciplinarians. No, my dad will never let me do that, or we don't ever go camping because he doesn't want to get dirty, and he sits. And then the mother, who is incredibly submissive to that father, who does not want to outstep her bounds, and tries to take care of him as much as she possibly can, despite the fact there's not a father figure. And that's the three I can think of. Oh, my dad would never let me do that.
Yeah, you get one.
Oh my gosh, and those are the kids that are usually the late bloomers, that are loners. And man, I wish I had done more. I wish I look back on that and I could think of one that I sat next to all the time. And I said hi to him in a nice way. I never involved him. I never, when we group up in class, I never, and I think to myself, and I think that's why, and I bring this up because my 1984 Lakota High School class of 1984, there's a Facebook page, right? And they sent me stuff, and they sent me a picture the other day, and I've never been to a class reunion. I don't know if I ever will be. I'm thinking differently about it these days because I was like, why would you want to go back? Maybe that's a group of people that some of these kids that were ignored and or bullied in their younger life can actually enjoy